Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com helping you create something awesome today. So today we're going to talk about building your website as a graphic designer. This is not going to be a super technical video, and it's not going to be a tutorial where I'm going to walk you through building it with code or WordPress or any of that. This is going to be some fundamental breakdowns for those of you who are struggling and haven't launched your website as a graphic designer yet, to show off your portfolio, to get new clients, or to get that job opportunity by being able to show this off and show your body of work. These are things that you need to do and that your website is going to help facilitate, and I'm going to talk to you about that and how you get started. So let me give you some context. My website currently is not just about my graphic design, although that is a big part of it. My personal brand and business has expanded over the years into a lot of different categories, and I've always felt that I'm more of a business person and more of a marketer than I've ever been a graphic designer, as much as I love graphic design and have had a great career with that. That being said, I want you to take my website with a grain of salt there, because it is built to facilitate a very different business model than what your website might be doing. Now, my old website was very focused on my graphic design practice, and what I can tell you is that it made a real difference. Despite the fact that a lot of graphic designers didn't like my website, it was making me thousands upon thousands of dollars and getting me new client business. And that's not a modest brag. I'm just proving a point that it doesn't have to be a website that impresses other graphic designers. Your website is there to convert clients or to get you hired and get you that new job. And there are some things that you need to consider when doing that. Number one, if you're not a web designer, do not stress about having a very savvy technical website that you coded by hand yourself. I coded mine in Dreamweaver and Bootstrap, and that's fine for me because I started as a web designer at 13 years old. That may not be your skill set, and it doesn't matter. You can feel perfectly comfortable either doing something with Squarespace that mostly shows off a gallery of your work so that someone can make an informed buying decision about investing their money in hiring you. That is the point here. The website is meant to convert somebody. So they're either supposed to hire you as a graphic designer freelance, hire you as an art director, hire you as a web designer, hire you as a motion graphics person, or if it's an employer, they're supposed to feel really comfortable about making an investment in the 3 to 5 years of you being on their staff. That's going to be over 6 figures for them. So I want you to make sure that you're positioning your website in such a way that someone feels comfortable in making a 3-year commitment to you and paying over 6 figures during that time of your employment, or as a client that they should be comfortable with writing you a $1,000 check to do a project for them. If you don't feel that your website is, accommodating that, then you need to address some of the fundamental things that might be wrong with your website and how you're positioning yourself. This is more of a business and a marketing talk than anything, but it's because I know that's an area that graphic designers struggle with, as many of you lean toward being more artist. So I'm trying to position you to think a little more about the person that you're asking for money and to empathize with them, empathize with the employer or the client, more than trying to think about how a designer will feel about your work and what your website looks like. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. But all joking aside, you need to make your website very easy to use. So my policy with that is try to make everything actionable in 2 clicks or less. So to do anything that they would need to do, it should take less than 2 clicks for them to get there. So think about the file structure of your website from that point. How do I download your portfolio of work so that I can look at it offline? It should take me 1 click to do that, I think. So that's important. How do I get to your body of work and take a look at it? That should be able to happen in 1 to 2 clicks. How do I contact you? That should be able to happen in 1 to 2 clicks, preferably 1. This is the real important part of user experience that the majority of people get wrong. Make it as seamless as possible. Scrolling is no longer the detriment that it used to be, because mobile devices have reconditioned people to get used to scrolling. So that's important. Make sure that your website is responsive. If you're not a web designer by trade, go ahead and use something like Squarespace. Long term, I wouldn't necessarily go that route. I would say that setting up a WordPress blog and not having to do a whole lot of coding, but do some customization to a really good WordPress theme is probably in your best interest, because it positions you to be able to do content marketing. It really helps with the SEO, search engine optimization, lets you be discovered in Google. That's gonna be important, especially if you're marketing yourself locally. That's a big deal. So I would say that all of those things matter. In terms of a web hosting company, I'm going to recommend Bluehost.com. You can use my link up here in the annotation or the one in the description below. That will help you guys out. It will obviously help me out. But the reason I'm recommending them is because if you need customer service help and you're not a techie, then I think they're going to be in your best interest, and they're super reliable, and that's why I'm going to recommend them to you. Now, here's why I don't recommend getting a free website. I know a lot of you want to do that and you want to use various different, companies that offer that. It doesn't come off nearly as professional. People can spot it a mile away. And at the end of the day, I feel like you need a really good professional email address to be able to email people from. When I email people from RobertoBlake.com, it makes a very good impression and it makes all the difference in the world. So that's super important. The other thing is I recommend going with like a company like Bluehost, because when it comes to like your emails not being blocked for spam and things like that, the web hosting company that you're with can make a difference as far as those things. And there are some technical reasons that I might explain in like a tech video for that, but that's why I would say that that's the better option. So that's why I would do that. Speaking of email, in addition to your website being professional and working on mobile devices, you really need to consider how you're promoting your materials in terms of things like your PDF and your resume through email. I recommend having one of those stored on your mobile phone so that you can go ahead and email that to somebody with the click of a button. And also in your portfolio, if you can link it back to your website so that they can see more of your stuff and have more context there, that actually might be in your best interest as well. So building out an interactive PDF that you can send to somebody via email is probably a really good idea, and having that connect and incorporate to your website in some way. Some final thoughts. Try and keep your website as simple and clean as possible. It doesn't have to be a work of art in and of itself. The work should be the hero of your website, so really put a focus and emphasis on positioning your work to be able to sell for you. So do that. Make sure that you have really clear text and that it all makes sense and will give someone context as to why they're here and why they should hire you. That's very important too. If you're going to show projects, consider doing case studies around the projects in your portfolio. That could be really helpful as well, especially if you're trying to reach higher end clients. Higher end clients love case studies. So having a WordPress blog is super important, and that's why I would say like get a host like Bluehost or somebody so that you can do a WordPress blog instead of just like a templated site that's a gallery. I think that content marketing is something that a lot of graphic designers are sleeping on, and I think it's a mistake. I'll talk more about stuff like that in my Promote Yourself as a Graphic Designer video. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you still have questions, make sure you're leaving those in the comment section. I'll try and answer as many of them as I possibly can. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and don't forget, create something awesome today.